Peace. This is a meat and potato social production starring myself, the Water Alchemist, and today's topic for the occult family is the era of insensitivity. Unfortunately, we live in a climate where insensitivity is overlooked or accepted. And this is harmful towards anybody of any race or ethnic group or age group. Because one thing about insensitivity, especially if you're an empath, and I'm the empath's advocate, that trauma can stay with them for years. Because with an empath, keep up with me, Trogs. I know I'm asking the impossible, but keep up with me. The certain remarks can be triggers and can affect a person. Those words are like fists or sledgehammer, because once you utter them, you can't take it back. And where does this come from? Usually insensitivity begins with parents, mom and dad. That is where it starts. And that can affect a person, especially on the cult level. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Is that a lot of people, because they didn't measure up in the home, they take that mind state over to their magical practice. Am I doing the ritual right? If I don't do this, what will happen? They take a perfectionist attitude into a ritual. If you're not, don't think about doing it right or not doing it right. Do it. And whatever you don't get right, you can come back and do it again, or I'll help you and we'll figure it out together. So, deal? If it's a deal, put it in the comments section. But let me share this story, and it stayed with me. It was an interview by sports analyst, then Fred Firestone, and he was interviewing the great Penny Hardaway. And this interview stood out for a multitude of reasons, but I'm going to chalk it down to these few. He was talking about, to Penny, he said, well, what seems to be the problem? You're NBA first team, all-star, you're on the dream team. And Penny was like, that's not enough. And he said, well, why? Penny felt like people in Orlando really hadn't truly accepted him and loved him. And Fred Firestone really got in depth with it. He said, so you do care about being a role model. You do care about, being perceived a certain way. He said, yeah, but this was the icing on the cake, so to speak, metaphysically. Penny said this, and it always stuck with me. And Penny said, it's a whole lot of things that people can say that can hurt you. And that stayed with me. As accomplished as that young man was, and as dynamic as he was, especially the 4 years in Orlando, when he said that, that stuck with me. So for people that's watching this and you don't understand, empaths, watch your words, please. Because a lot of people go to relationships and they'll stay in those relationships because they're trying to get something that they could not get at home. In a nutshell. And we live where people can say things now that 30 years ago would have got you punched in your face, whether you male or female. You can't just say anything, and, especially some young people, not all, that's just how they is, man. They expressing themselves. Okay, fine. So when I express myself, then what? We have to be careful with our words. You just can't feel that you can say anything to anybody. And again, it begins with the parents. How many parents have said this? You wear your heart on the sleeve. You too sensitive. And especially if you a boy and you hear this. And we already know that there's a war against masculinity. We already know that. So we have to think about this era that we're living in. Being insensitive, not having empathy, not having compassion. I mean, I even had a discussion with a family member that said, well, if people are homeless, that's their fault. I thought that was the most asinine statement ever made. But again, people just feel like they can say whatever they want. And even some young people, some people old now and they just feel like, oh, I'll just say whatever I want because I'm 70 now and this. No, you just an old mouth breather. What's 70 got to do with it? So again, this era of insensitivity, I think humanity can do better. And if you can do better, you should do better. And never, ever apologize for being you. You an empath for a reason. Wear that like a badge of honor. So with that, that is your meat and potato sorcery for the day. I am the Water Alchemist. Be water, my friends. Peace.